Mac Jones is an absolute monster in the Kyle Shanahan system. Mac Jones has an opportunity here to have the second career that all these other quarterbacks have been having. Obviously, we look at Baker Mayfield and we say, wow, look what Baker's done. He's become the guy in Tampa. They said he's the franchise. They've paid him as such. They've treated him as such. He's gone on to do his thing. Danny Dimes in Indianapolis. This guy might win the MVP. Sam Darnold first in Minnesota, then out there in Seattle. And now we're with Jared Goff whenever he goes up there to Detroit. Now we're witnessing Mac Jones in his greatest form. Mac Jones, we remember him from his rookie campaign where he was so damn good for New England. He was gritty and at the Pro Bowl. He was laughing. He was kicking people in the balls. It was fun. It was fun. This guy out of Alabama had one of the most prolific college football seasons in the history of college football with Sark as his offensive coordinator. And everybody thought he was going number 3 to San Francisco until draft day, whenever we were told by a source
says...
I said that wrong with A before there, but we were told by somebody, hey, it ain't Mac Jones. Mac Jones ain't going number 3. So we go on our little internet show that obviously before ESPN didn't exist in a lot of people's minds that wear suits, and we say, hey, our source says are telling us that Mac Jones ain't going 3. At that exact moment, the draft odds for him to go number 3, and then everybody else kind of just went absolute haywire. Then we sat around and waited to see if our source says we're right if we're doing actual journalism, and it turned out Trey Lance goes number 3 and Mac Jones falls. And he didn't look as cool as he looked last night, certainly. But on draft night, he certainly looked the part for New England. And what happened up there was a little bit of success. Then a defensive coordinator and a special teams coach become his offense coordinator and his quarterback coach. It ends up failing miserably. He ends up leaving there, bouncing down to Jacksonville. Then now he's getting an opportunity with the guy who potentially wanted him in the first place, but then got talked out of it with so much upside of Trey Lance. And with the massive amount of success that he's having right now, you have to wonder if Shanahan sits down at night with that cool flat bill, which I assume he sleeps with on. And he says to himself, I knew it. This guy is the right one for me. And it does feel like in this system, he is perfect, AJ. I mean, they had injuries galore. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey is one of the most dynamic players. Demarcus Robinson last night. Bourne last night. I mean, you name it. You go through Tongus, whatever the hell his name is, in for Kittle. He's going crazy. And then obviously the Juice is out there doing his thing. But watching Mac Jones in this offense, with what he has learned, what he has, what he's capable of doing, it's just like a perfect marriage. And I don't know how many times Shanahan has wondered what if from the very beginning. But maybe after those stops, Mac needed that to get to this point. So maybe it's not a fair judgment of this Mac versus rookie Mac. But damn, this Mac looks really good for this Niners team. And they get a huge win and obviously cover 8.5-point spread, which Shanahan was pissed off about. Allegedly, Shanahan went up to Mac Jones at 4 and said, I can't believe they made the spread from 3 to 8.5. They're disrespecting us. And Matt goes, I don't even know what that means, but I agree. And they go out there and do it, AJ. I like the cut of the jib of this Niners team, and I like it more this particular year whenever Mac Jones is in there playing, as opposed to banged up Brock Purdy, who's also worth $200 million, AJ. It's an interesting dynamic out there, but huge win for the Niners on a Thursday.
Yeah, gigantic win. I'll tell you what, Kendrick Bourne is not too upset either that Mac Jones is in there. He goes for 10 receptions, 142 yards, playing well. Damn. I know he's had some drop issues, so he wanted to get back on track, and he did last night. But yeah, how Mac spreads the ball around, I think how quickly he gets rid of the ball is impressive to me. When was it? When he dropped back at one point, he couldn't even follow through, and he gets rid of this thing early, and he has this high follow through. Like he's feeling it, man. Like you could tell he was in the zone in between plays. If you watch him, he's sitting here listening to the next play coming in instantly and just head down, giving 11 personnel, whatever we're doing. He just seems to be on a mission. And I just look how quick, right there, he sees what he needs. Boom, get rid of the ball. Like he's not thinking at all. I feel like whatever the system, whatever they're doing with him there, this is where he's most comfortable so far. I guess it feels like within his NFL career.
I love it. And on the other side with McVay, I know obviously missed extra point, blocked extra point is a big topic of conversation. But let's talk about you dancing on the Mac Jones victory parade. Okay, you put the Dan wagon on Mac going to the Shanahan offense, and he would look just like Brock Purdy looks right now, was your exact words. And we all laughed in your face because we had seen Mac Jones up there at New England with Matt Patricia, a defense coordinator, as his offense coordinator, and Joe Judge, a special teams coordinator, as his quarterback coach. And we've seen the antics of him kicking people in the balls and the way he operated, and we all thought to ourselves, this guy stinks. And in his face, I think to him, not to us, obviously we never do that, but I think there is something about the way he looks that some people go, wow, I won't punch him in the face right there. Some people view that way. I don't think it's fair, but I think Mac Jones has probably heard that before. So it was all natural to bury Mac whenever he ended bad in New England, I think, for a lot of people. Then he goes down to Jacksonville, not a lot of fanfare, not a lot of conversation, goes over to Shanahan and gets this opportunity. He has been fantastic. Do we think that rookie Mac Jones would have been able to handle a Shanahan-like offense? Like if he was the number 3 overall pick, do we think Mac Jones is being talked about as one of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL right now? Or do you think he needed everything he went through and got here at the perfect time for this type of situation, Dano, on your victory lap?
Yeah, I truly believe if he went to San Francisco at 3 that year, he would be one of the top, 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. I had felt that. I would say this, though. I think on the field, he would have been able to handle Shanahan's offense. I do think the maturity has absolutely kind of grown. I just was watching you guys play his post-game comments, and we've seen Mac have some bad body language and probably comport himself in ways that he wasn't great when he was younger. So I think that and kind of like the maturity throughout the league or his years has developed. I'll say this off the game last night. That's the best game I've ever seen him play in the NFL. I was blown away how good he was. Like, you're showing all these clips. Dude, the timing of these throws is nuts. And the crazy thing is, they're not like 6-yard completions. They're all like 16, 18, 24-yard completions that are big-time throws, and they're coming right out of his hands. So many times the ball left his hands before the receivers were like dropping their hips and getting into their cuts, and so it was a phenomenal game. It's the best game I've ever seen Mac play, and what a freaking win. Like, what a freaking win by the 49ers, man.
Here's a Hembo stat for you to go along with the point you just made right there. San Francisco's pass game accounted for 82% of its yardage last night. They had been 3-13 under Shanahan when that number was 80+. And then Jones to Bourne this season, second time around for those two, right, Con Man?
Yeah, that was his number 1 when he was in New England, big time.
Okay, so he understands his timing, even though Demarcus Robinson got into the game last night, started making some plays, ex-Ram, obviously getting a big-time win. Jones to Bourne this season, 17 of 20, 85% of his completion rate, 212 pass yards and 10.6 yards per attempt, so they're down the field to your point. 12 first downs, and he has a 95.5 QBR. That is out of 100 scale. So whenever you talk about to Bourne, obviously he has some familiarity with, but everybody else he doesn't. I mean, Demarcus Robinson, I forgot he was on the Niners until Kirk Herbstreit brought his name up yesterday. I actually wrote it down. I'm like, oh, yeah, Demarcus Robinson's on that team. Sprinkled a little bit on anytime TD on Demarcus Robinson. He was out of bounds. Mac needs to throw that ball better, okay? Mac needs to throw that ball. We're talking about him being great. Yeah, well, my anytime touchdown does not take that is with Demarcus. But on that note, he doesn't know these guys that much, and he's not getting a lot of 1 reps out there, right? Isn't that something else to be added into all of this, Dano?
Yeah, I think he's got more reps than most backups, obviously, because he's had to play for almost a month now, right? And so I think that's a part of this. I do believe that last night is this kind of walking example of some of the things we often lose sight of when it comes to quarterback play. Obviously, coaching's a massive part of quarterback performance. Like, we can definitively say quarterbacks can only play as good as their play caller. Like, they go hand in hand. We saw that last night. And then watching that game, I felt like, rewatching it this morning, it felt like I was rewatching the Dak versus Green Bay game. Because, like, during it, I'm like, how is the Rams' defensive line not getting home? How are they not getting to Mac and sacking him more? And, dude, there are so many throws that he cuts the ball. Like, they actually win at the defensive line, and he cuts it loose right before he gets hit, and that was exactly what Dak did against Micah and that Green Bay defensive line. And so I think that is another example of, like, dude, how important playing on time is right now at that position. It minimizes so many things. And then I would shout out their offensive line. Like, again, I'm just talking about how fast or how much playing on time helped him. Their offense, that throw's ridiculous, dude. Their offensive line was very impressive last night, because that Rams defensive front is big time. But man, it's the example of this quarterback development, quarterback performance. Who would you rather have? Where you go matters. Like, it's it's another example of that we have in the NFL of like, dude, it all matters on the player or for the player how well he can perform.
Congrats to you and congrats to Mac. And I asked this question like 3-4 weeks ago. Like Kyle Shanahan's first love in this entire thing was Mac. If your first love shows up and cooking great, takes care of just everything that you could potentially want, it just walks into your life. It's hard, I assume, for him not to be like, I knew it. I fucking knew it. And then all of a sudden you start thinking, well, what all is possible, And that's going to be a natural conversation that's going to happen with media pundits. I appreciate Mac putting that to sleep, saying, hey, this is Brock Purdy's team. He's getting $200 million, not me. But that is certainly going to be a growing convo if Mac continues to ball like this, at least for trade bait discussions or maybe in the offseason next year. So I love that. And good for you getting a chance to dance on a right take for once. That very rarely happens for you. We're pumped. Dan, that's very rare.
Boy, Dan.
Hey,
Good work, Dano. Take your flyers, Dano. Come on, Dano. Woo! Here we go.
Wow, good whistle.
Okay, let's talk about Mac Jones. He just had his best professional game last night, prime time. And you said he wasn't ready that year. The next year he was ready. Puts together one of the greatest years in college football with Sark as OC. Obviously, New England goes how it goes. Then he goes down to Jacksonville. Now he's with Shanahan. Shanahan was potentially going to draft him at number 3 overall. Instead, they end up with Trey Lance because the upside, the athleticism, everything like that. Shanahan getting to experience this with Mac Jones right now. Mac Jones handling it perfectly, saying, hey, this is Brock Purdy's team. I'm just here to be the backup quarterback, do his thing. Did you get a chance to see last night? And whenever you see something like this happen for one of your players, is there a sense of fulfillment or happiness for them? Because for a long time, he's been getting buried about being a bust. This guy sucks. And then he goes to the 49ers, and it's almost like a perfect storm for him to be great. And last night, he was certainly that, as he has been all season for them.
Yeah, he has been all season for them, and it does give me, great joy.
Jeez,
very proud of all of our guys that go on, and this is what they came here to do. This is why they worked hard. They wanted to win at Alabama, but they also wanted to have a career for themselves and play in the NFL. So when they do it and are successful, it makes me feel wonderful and very proud, almost like a father who is proud of the son, which I've had the opportunity to be quite a bit as well. So anyway, I'm so happy for Mac, but I think Mac was one of those guys that was in bad situations in New England relative to coaching and all that type of stuff, and who was the offensive coordinator and how did he get developed when he came in the league. And he hasn't been in great circumstances. I think right now he is in a really good circumstance with Shanahan, their offense, the players he's got around him, because he is a guy that will execute. He's really, really smart, so he's going to do exactly what you tell him to do. And he wants to know exactly what you want him to do. And I'm not sure he always got told exactly what it was expected of him before going to the 49ers.
He's got a lot of moxie. I enjoy the way. It feels like he is mentally, physically, emotionally in the perfect spot with Shanahan.